Well, if there's one thing that I'm an expert of, it's figuring out how stuff works. In fact, as a kid, I used to completely dismantle and take toys apart because all I wanted to do is just find out how it works, not just play with them. I think life itself is a continuous learning experience, but one thing that I keep doing is this whole thing about learning something while trying to explain or help others learn it at the same time. So that made me gravitate towards more cutting edge areas like early stages of the internet to computer graphics to drones and things like that. But these days I'm focusing on something that I believe is going to be a very prominent thing that we are going to be focusing on moving forward, which is this whole concept of using computers to help us better understand and better manage our emotions and feelings. I first started thinking about this concept at a time when I was visiting Sri Lanka, trying to trace back some of my earliest childhood memories. And there was this place called Trincomalee, a bay town where my parents used to live, and I remember there was this cliff made out of rocks which was pretty scary. And in fact, now I learned it's actually called the Lover's Leap because apparently it's pretty popular among people who like to commit suicide for various reasons, including heartbreak. And the legend has it that there used to be a young woman back in the 1800s who got separated with her lover because he got shipped overseas, and she just watched him sail away, and as his ship disappeared over the horizon, she just leapt into the water. So around the world, while not everybody goes to that extreme, there's a lot of us suffering from what seems to be a very preventable condition. We have made progress with managing AIDS, we have improved our chances with many types of cancer, especially in early detection. Now we are looking into space tourism and colonizing Mars. Yet here at home, we still haven't figured out not to waste our lives away with toxic, unhealthy relationships, or in some cases, how to have any relationship at all. It's ironic that in an age when we are constantly connected and accumulating countless followers and fans, we seem to be more disconnected and distracted than ever before. So I thought it would be nice to solve this issue, starting with trying to figure out how we can come up with a standard way to clearly understand the nature and the quality of the connection we have with another person. So both people can be mindful and aware about the true situation. So at first I simply wanted to create something a little bit more flexible than just yes and no to the reaction somebody has towards another person, because these days we are used to the whole idea of either liking or disliking, following, unfollowing, or swiping left or swiping right. And instead of making it so black and white, I thought, what if there's a range in between? So I came up with this thing called the like scale, where you basically grade sort of the amount of the reaction you have. But that didn't quite seem right, because in reality it's not just a sliding scale, it's not a grade or some kind of evaluation. It has to be something that is mutual between the two people. So I thought of using the idea of being in tune, and naturally one of the first things I investigated was the idea of using musical notes as a way of telling how you stand. But even that was a little confusing and also not quite flexible, because in reality it's not just a sliding scale, it's more of a multi-dimensional thing. So after many iterations and trying out many different things, I also did a lot of research and talked to a lot of experts about this subject matter, and finally came to this current model I have called Iris, where I basically simplify the aspects of relationship into 3 categories, and each category has its own color value, or the RGB spectrum color value. So that way a combination of these 3 components end up as one color, and the idea is that you compare your color towards one person versus that person's color towards you, and then you can figure out where the relationship stands in terms of whether things are sort of in sync or whether you want different things from each other. The system also takes into account the whole aspect of how engaged or how interactive you are about a particular connection, because at the end of the day, no matter how strong of a connection you have, if you don't actually think or care about the person, things could just fade out. So that's why the colors also fade back to gray, which is the neutral point or the starting point. And if you don't care about stating what your feelings are, then that means you're just neutral. Or if you don't care about stating the negative side of things, that's also considered a middle ground, or the gray. So all this is still being refined, and I just want to keep exploring to perfect it. As of now, it's a free and ad-free app for personal use. My primary motivation is to give something back to this world and to help people detect bad relationships early and to identify good relationships out of the crowd so they can invest their time and efforts in them. So try it out and let me know what works and what doesn't. By doing so, you can help others avoid and prevent heartbreak even before it happens.